Are you looking for the perfect rehydration drink to support your active lifestyle? Well, my friends, look no further than Hoist. Hoist is there for you whether you're going to use it pre-workout, in the middle of your workout in between sets, after workout, maybe if you're traveling, if you feel that dehydration headache sneaking up on you, or maybe if you just had a late night the night before and you need to reset and get back after it. With 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks with half the sugar and no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial preservatives, sweeteners, or dyes, Hoist is BPA free, it's kosher, and most importantly, it's made in the USA, baby. We all use Hoist, and I can't speak highly of it enough. Whether I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'm out doing tactical operations, or I'm in the gym trying to make sure that I'm harder to kill, Hoist is always there to support me. With 5 delicious flavors you can pick up at your local grocery store or gas station. I love the dragon fruit, but you can try the orange, watermelon, peach mango, or strawberry lemonade. Hoist knows that you don't do normal things, and you might be out in the wilderness on a hunt, or you might be on a long ruck. Well, they hear you, and they've also got 3 delicious powder packs that you can mix in water anytime you want it. Peach mango, grape, and that fruit punch is that hitter for those packets. So go check them out. If you need IV level hydration for your normal every day-to-day activity, or if you're trying to get after it, working 2 workouts a day, Hoist is there to support you. Go check them out.
I love our comment section. I mean, here's the thing about questions, Peaches. Like, it's a good problem, right? We got people that are coming to the page and they're just discovering it, right? And the first thing they do is shoot us a DM and they're like, hey, how do I get to a recruiter? What's the day-to-day like? I know we make fun of it, but it's getting frustrating because I'm like, the first question I ask is like, did you look at the page at all? Did you look through any of the content? The thing, I can't remember what somebody asked about was like Tag P the other day. I said, I think at this point we have 8 hours of Tag P content on the podcast. Like, you could just if you just search Tag P on our page, it would come up with like 8 podcasts, like 3 live questions, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It frustrates me. I want you to fix your own problems, everybody. That's what we want.
So I will say that it's not just you. Other people. Well, I mean, I'm serious though. Like, it's not just you, because I was just perusing Reddit and some kid, I'm assuming a kid, I don't know, asked a question.
I'm not a biologist. I'm assuming it's a kid.
Asked a question, and then like somebody said, hey, not, and very rudely, I mean, it was just like, I don't know why you're wasting everybody's time. This has been answered numerous times on One's Ready. Check out One's Ready, One's Ready, One's Ready, One's Ready. I mean, like, literally wrote that. He's like, I'm sick of this bullshit. You guys don't take the time. And then several people came on. I was like, whoa. And then one of the other dudes, who I think he's a retired PJ or something like that. He's definitely was in the community or heavily involved in it, because he knows a lot, and he doesn't mind right now. And he goes, hey guys, I actually kind of agree with him. Like, you should be able to do a little bit of research. I get it. Not everybody wants to scroll through 200 hours of One's Ready content kind of thing, but like a little bit of effort rather than just hitting the easy button, asking a question, would be appreciated, Well,
and again, it's one of those weird things. I'm sure you've had, it's a pipeline thing, right? An instructor will start talking to the team, and pretty soon you have no idea why the instructor is so mad. Like, you guys didn't do anything like you left a water bottle. I remember getting like just absolutely smoked. And this instructor was just off in his own world, screaming about how water bottles can equal death on the battlefield. And you're just like, I get the lesson. I get the lesson that you're trying to do here, but like, it's a little bit of a reach. But we fall victim to it a little bit as well, right? We see every single person that engages with us as a future operator, as a future controller, as a future SR guy, as a future PJ. And if that young 3-level PJ, this just happened on the group chat, on the Jays group chat at the 2-2. No kidding. Somebody popped up in the group chat and was like, hey, I have this very specific question about upgrade. It's one of the 3 levels. And like 4 of us were like, I just responded back. I was like, you can Google it here. It's in the pub's library here. You could have looked here. Did you ask your team sergeant? And Jared instead of responded back. It was just like, come on, man. He's like, I got it, Aaron. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks. But That's where that comes from, right? Like we don't allow our team members to just, having a team sergeant, having a supervisor in the Air Force. It's not like having a dad. It's like having a supervisor that will help you do things, but you still have a job to do. And you like, it requires your input. You have to actually do some of the work.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you shouldn't, it's a fine line, right? I mean, it's just, you've got to be willing to put in the effort. You at least have to do your due diligence in terms of going and finding the information and stuff like that. Sometimes the information is difficult to find, but hey, even if you spent 5 minutes trying to find it and you come to me and you're like, listen, dude, I have looked all through this. I can't find it. I'm obviously looking in the wrong pub or whatever it is. Like, can you point me in the right direction? Cool. And then I'll probably still point them in the right direction, but then give them the answer as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, here's the answer, but here's where you can go find it.
Yeah.
Imagine working before Google. Imagine having to go to like Encyclopedia Britannica to find your answer on anything. Like, how fast can an elephant run? I don't know. You got to go to the E section of Encyclopedia Britannica. Like, you couldn't even Google things.
If you happen to, like, your parents were well off enough to buy the encyclopedias for your house from the dudes that were going around. Yeah.
If not, you just didn't know stuff.
Yeah. The older people are going to crack up about this, but and remember it, but there used to be salesmen that would go door to door and they would sell you encyclopedias, and you'd have your A through Z and oh, well, I don't have D and E, so let me purchase D and E from you.
I love that's the struggle. That's the struggle zone right there.
Yeah, the big bookshelves, and they would have all their encyclopedias, going across.
Many leather-bound books. My family was pretty poor, so we had to like just get the letters that we cared about first. We'd be like, all right, we definitely don't need Q. X is out. Z, all right, zebras. I don't care about zebras. Like, we need some more. Definitely get us like the A. We're gonna put like C and D on layaway.
Well, we didn't have much money either, but so you'd have the Encyclopedia Britannica ones, right? The big leather bound and all that kind of stuff. Then you have the kind of knockoff ones that are like, hey, here are the Cliff Notes version of what that. Those are the ones I had.
It's like a guy read Encyclopedia Britannica and then put it into his own words, and then that was the encyclopedia you had.
And that's Wikipedia.
And congratulations, that's what Wikipedia is today.
So the funny part about Wikipedia is that it actually is now starting to become a little bit more acknowledged as legitimate. The problem is that, I mean, because they've locked down a lot of it now in terms of who can edit, and you got to be a verified person to edit. But there's still a bunch of BS on there.
I love it. I love going to a page and seeing that somebody has obviously edited it to say something just absolutely ridiculous. Every single time it makes me laugh. Like, for a while, they edited Ohio State. It was like a football game. I think when Baker Mayfield beat Ohio State, Siri for like a week and a half, if you ask Siri, hey, who owns Ohio Stadium? She would say Baker Mayfield. And somebody updated the Twitter of Ohio Stadium to be like, oh, it was built by these people, but Baker Mayfield owns it. It was a pretty funny joke.
So I'm checking on here to see if we have a Wikipedia. And if not,
we
maybe
do have a Wikipedia. Oh man, I'll tell you, I really liked Juan's Ready, the parody account. That was a funny account. That was a fun part of time. I really liked their posts. That was a good one. Can't wait till Wine's Ready drops. It's gonna be hilarious.
What's Wine's Ready?
What's Wine's Ready? Don't you worry about that. That's another one. I hope we have a Wikipedia. We probably don't. We're really not that popular. That's what I love making the same, essentially the same 5 jokes with all of our guests. That's a great thing about jokes on this podcast is, they've never heard them before. And I get to work on my material by telling the same guest, different guests, the same joke. But I always joke about, nobody's listening. We're very popular in a very small niche. I wouldn't even say we're very popular. You and Trent are very popular. I wouldn't even say
we're very popular. I would use that term, very loosely. Like, man,
I would use that term very loosely.
you know what's funny is Chief Lampy just texted me, and
Did you
I know
really?
we're recording, and this is kind of our random, and people are going to go,
Hmm.
why will you guys actually talk about something that's pertinent? But
No, I
uh,
don't think. I don't
Chief
think this is the
Lamp,
one for you.
no, this is definitely not the one for you. You might get a couple little
Mm-mm.
nuggets, but probably not. Um, so yeah, Chief Lampy just texted me going like, "Hey, I had a senior moment."
Solid.
Is he?
What's up, Chief? Did you just forget? Did he? You forgot he was calling us back or what?
I had texted him back with some dates to come on,
Hmm.
and he didn't gotten back to me
Oh, okay.
because he's still working. I mean, he's an older
Yeah.
gentleman, but he's still out working and leaving the country and stuff like that. And he's just like, oh no, I completely forgot to call in for you guys.
That dude is so wild. Like the fact that doesn't surprise me at all. That Chief Lampy is still like taking international trips. He's probably like doing manual labor somewhere as well. It's probably not easy work.
Oh no, he's probably out murking dudes. Like he's probably still going overseas, and it's perfect too because I think he's probably in his late 50s, mid to late 50s.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I really don't know, and yeah, he's the perfect person to go over there and do that because he's unsuspecting. He's just a normal looking dude, and all of a sudden you get
He looks like your
nerds.
grandpa. And then all of a sudden you're getting murked by a guy that looks like your
Yeah,
grandpa. Your great
yeah,
uncle Harold showed up to to kill an international drug dealer.
yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Uh, that's cool. I'm actually really looking forward to. I don't know why it's coming over there. Actually really looking forward to dropping his episode. The only reason that we haven't
Yeah.
dropped his episode is because we want to have like a volume two, a continuation backed up so that we don't just leave you hanging. Because it's pretty funny. It's actually fun to sit back and listen to some of the older generation stories of how wild, like Wild West things were back
Hmm.
not that long ago either.
It really wasn't that long ago. That's the thing. Like, especially if you talk to guys in the late '90s, even those dudes are like, "Oh yeah, man, we accidentally totaled a GOV because one of the guys said that he could drive it over this river and he couldn't, and then we had to like take the plates off of it and hide it. We got away with it." Be like, "Wait, what? you,
You gotta.
you sunk a GOV? GOV is just the bottom of some river somewhere, and you just took the plates back and everything was cool." Be like, "Yeah, we need the vehicle guy." But like, what are you talking about? Like, we can't. We lose one item from the radio shop here, and everybody's like, "Y'all need to hold on." We're
Shut the
go unlock
unit
your
down.
exactly. Go unlock your cages right now. We're missing one radio.
But I mean, you could look back at probably the early 2000s and even maybe even late 2000s and going, well, we were a lot looser then. I think we probably tightened the screws a little too much now, like full
Mm,
disclosure. But I think we got to loosen those a little bit. But I think that is not an us thing. That is a DoD or a military and as a nation. I think that we have gotten a little bit more uptight than and risk adverse. So it's not just
yeah,
us.
yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think the pendulum swings, both ways. For a long time, we had issues with, it was like the cowboy. And you were totally right. Like that 2000 to 2010 time period. I mean, it was Wild West. Dudes were just picking up like mad deployment. Like we've talked about guys just walking into team rooms and just being like, "Oh, I feel like deploying today. I'm going to go catch this deployment." And that's literally how you would like go on deployments. And you can only do that for so long. You can only do that for a period of time to where you're like, okay, well this isn't going to work anymore. My camera's not working. I'll figure it out. But you were totally correct in like there was some times where you looking back on it now, even in our careers, where you're like, wow, that really was a thing. Like that probably can't be a thing anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it goes along with the threat changes, the environment changes. I mean, there are countries on the African continent that you and I went to. And it was like a normal thing that you're going to go there, you're going to do these surveys, you're going to go do this Medcap, you're going to go do whatever. And now, because of the threat level there, we're not just going in there on a civilian flight and hanging out. It's a lot different. You're just not going there now.
Well, even the difference between like 2012 and 2021. So the difference of almost 10 years, I guess. But it was exactly what you said. Like before, it was no problem. We would just, drive off base. You'd have your normal security protocols and whatever. But this time it was like, okay, well, who's your embassy driver? Where's your armored vehicles? Where's your con op for this movement? All this other stuff. I was like, con op for this movement? We've done this movement like 10 times. Like I've done this exact movement like 4 or 5 different times. And they were just like, yeah, man, it's not the same anymore. So you're just like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's just times change, threat, environment, all change. So
yeah,
it's it can be a struggle for older generations like us, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the us, we're the them now, Peaches. We're no longer us, we're them.
I know we are. It's really weird. And other people are going to watch this and think like, hey man, you're only 40 and like you're not really old. Well, except for the young kids. The young kids are going to think we're ancient, but in reality,
because they're right. Yeah.
Well, by the standards of the community that we're in, we are old. We are 100% the old guys. But it's definitely a younger person's game for sure. But
yep.
I mean,
I had a very wild, I guess it's wild or whatever. I can't remember where I was. I think it was like checking into the dentist or something. And somebody asked for their birthday and the kid was like August 25th of 1998. Bro, I graduated high school in 1997. So I no kidding, just sat there and I managed to just shut up about it and not say anything because the only thing worse than hearing that is like engaging. Like, hey, young man. Hey, A1C Johnson. I graduated high school before you were born. Like, that's even worse than actually just having it happen to you. But I no kidding, I was sitting in that chair and I was just like, wow, okay. Shit's different. I texted somebody, I was like, holy shit, this guy's born in 98. And the response was, well, I mean, yeah, 1, you're old. And 2, there's going to be people like you're going to meet somebody that wasn't born in, 2001, like September 11, 2001. The reason you get in, you're going to meet people that weren't born then, that didn't experience it. Like those people are in the military now. And it just blew me away. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what the history books look at too. I mean, my daughter's studying the Holocaust and everything that happened in Auschwitz and all that, and she's finding it extremely interesting and also very saddening, But it's it's a weird thing. But since we're talking about the age thing, it was a good conversation that we had with Colonel Dula and Command Chief Pop about Gen Z and whatever generation is after Gen Z. I don't even know if that has a name yet, but
I don't know if it does have a name yet. They really
are, at least from what we've experienced, at the operational unit level, and then from what we've been told and seen in the pipeline, like they are physical specimens.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if that's a generational thing in terms of, okay, well, they've grown up with fitness being drummed into them, whether it's individual fitness, team sports, whether it's, I know Colonel Dooley had brought up the CrossFit thing. Like, it's just physical specimens coming in. And I could never dream of being that good.
No way.
At fitness, if you will. Never, even at that age. There's no way. And they're coming in and they're crushing it, and they're wicked smart too. It's fantastic to see. So I don't
Yep.
subscribe, or I think it's bullshit whenever people are like, oh, this this new generation are complete, like, dude, you're not seeing the same people that I am.
Right. I always want to ask, like, who are you talking about? Like, give me an example. Like, tell me, don't tell me that you're like, oh, well, it's just all these new millennials. Okay, well, which one? Like, is it a single guy? Is it a person? Is it a female that you talk to? Like, we're like, well, no, just in general. Like, so you're making a sweeping generalization about an entire generation of people. like, what are we doing here? I think we did have a good conversation on. I wonder what the difference is, but really, if you look at my kids, or if you look at your kids, those kids grew up, on Saturdays hanging out in CrossFit gyms, and shout out to CrossFit for all the bad that it's done. Like, people poo poo CrossFit all the time, but it really did inject that into normalcy when people started doing the main page wads, and that whole community kind of blew up in the early 2000s, like the late 90s and early 2000s, when it really became a huge thing. It really did open up just a new, almost, a new subculture where kids really did grow up in the gym. Like, my son still Olympic lifts to this day. Like, he doesn't particularly love CrossFit because he doesn't like to do Metcons, but he loves to throw weight around. That dude's been Olympic lifting and doing CrossFit style workouts since the kid was like 10. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
9 and 10 years old. He's been in the gym crushing it because that's what his mom and I were doing. You know what I mean? Like, we were in the gym getting after it at Apollo or whatever local gym was our home gym. And, you kind of lived there. You were there 4 or 5 days a week. You saw the same people. You saw the same kids. You got to be friends. Like, there's something to be said for that kind of get injected into the culture. And we're definitely seeing the output of it out of it now, because I see the same thing. There's no way I can keep up with is people straight out of the pipeline. Get out of here. Like, people in the pipeline, get out of here. When we go to, I'm glad that we're going to graduation. Shout out PJ graduation coming up, 2202. I usually work out with the teams every time I go. I try to go work out with the teams on a Friday, or try to get in on one of their team workout days. Those dudes are monsters. They're just absolute. And it's just, even the guys that, don't look like it, some of the smaller dudes, they're absolute monsters comparatively. I look back on our team that I graduated with, and we prided ourselves on being kind of that team that you couldn't smoke because we were terrible, and we had a lot of practice at getting smoked. But even comparing us, even from that golden era of where I thought I was the most in shape, like looking at these guys and gals getting out of the pipeline today, it's not even the same game. You know what I mean? It's not. It's completely different.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we can continue and talk about them, but like, it's just they're smarter too. So yeah, they're physical specimens, but they're also smarter. And I don't know what is the cause of that. I don't know if that's access to unlimited information, which is obviously could also be a danger depending on where you're getting your information from. But they're smarter too, so that and I think we have made the analogy several times, like just taking it back to the pipeline. It's 80% mental, 20% physical. And if you can be a physical specimen, then you're opening up 20% of your bandwidth to focus on the mental stuff. Well, hey, dude, I completely lost it. There's some TBI for you. You guys want to know the real effects of TBIs? There's one of them right there. That's not old age. That is TBI.
I was like, land the plane, my dude. Land the plane. We're talking about kids being smarter than us. I got it. I'm in. And then it was just gone.
I'm sure people have seen that before on here, because I'll be going and I'm like asking a question to a guest, and I'm like, yeah.
What question was I getting at? What did I want out of this? I started talking. It's like the Michael Scott meme where he's like, sometimes I start a sentence and I don't know where it's going to go, and I just hope I find it by the end. That's 100% you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's totally. But so I still don't know where I was going with it. But hey, shout out to you younger Generation Z, because you're wicked smart. How about that?
Yeah. You guys are doing fine. The access to immediate information, though, that is where I think that does breed some of the poo-poo-ness of the older guys. And typically when you have a guy that's like, oh, well, these guys are so entitled. Well, they're not entitled. It's just they came to you to ask you a question. You didn't give them the answer to the question that they needed. And they were like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I'm supposed to have immediate answers to these questions. And, it's bred because they can just pick their phone up. They can just Google it and they can get the exact answer all the time. So,
Well,
that's,
and that's another reason why because that's the way we've always done it, or the not explaining why we are doing something. That is
mhm.
that is another reason why it's so important that if you tell somebody that they've got to do something, or you ex, you know something that's got to get done, and you just go, well, that's the way we've always done it. Like, that
Mhm.
is why there is so much pushback on that, as there should be, because
Mhm.
if I do have a question, I can get the immediate answer. Now I understand why I'm doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and I get it. Sometimes that there's not. Sometimes we have to give orders for something that, or tell somebody to do something that we don't have time to explain it, dude. And this is the same with my kids. Like, I just need you to do this right now. I'll explain it later, but like right now, just do this. Um,
Right.
it's just because it's a time thing, or maybe my son's just not at the age to mentally understand the actual why. So
Right.
I got to dumb it down or something like that.
Yeah. Trent and I talked about that a lot, especially when we were in, San Antonio. Is that's always the wall between instructors and students, right? Like and it's funny because you're having the exact same conversation. I will tell you, from being an instructor will walk into a room and say, do this task, and the students or the candidates will be like, okay, but why? And the instructor is, oh, just go do it. You don't need to know the why for this. Just right now, just go do this task. Well, then those two people leave, right? The instructor goes back to his team room and the students go back to their team room. And the students are like, what was that about? I don't even know. This is a stupid task. I don't understand. And then the instructor is in their room going, I don't understand why it's so hard just to do the task. Just do the task like I told you to do the task. I don't understand why there has to be this conversation afterwards. You're having the same conversation. You're having the exact same conversation. The conversation is, I don't understand why this other person wouldn't give me the information I needed for the task, and I don't understand why the task is incomplete. It's the exact same conversation, but you
Yeah.
just have it from
And,
two separate optics.
and sometimes I don't know the why, right? Like,
Yep.
I mean, I've asked
Yeah.
you to fill out this, and I'm not going to say what it is, because
Right.
then that'll get sent up. But this document, this Excel document, I've asked you to do that, as well as every single other senior NCO at the unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I always get the question, hey, what's this for? Why? I've got the what's it for. Like, I can handle that. It's
Right.
it's the why, and I'm like, I don't know.
You
I'm
know.
sorry. I don't know, because I don't understand it. I don't
Right.
understand why every single one of you need to fill this out. That is a 2 or 3 hour freaking. If you really truly take the time to fill it out, it's going to take you a couple of hours to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. You know,
Right.
and
Yep.
it's like, hey guys, keep this updated too. Because you never know when they're going to ask for it. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
but
love
why?
the actual
But
answer.
what is it? Right. But what does it do? And that's why I've started everything with like, what problem is it solving? And it just screws people up. Like anytime that there's like a process that we do, I'm like, okay, guys, tell me, what process are we, or what problem are we solving here? And the first time I asked it, somebody kind of like looked at me and raised their eyebrows. They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, if we're doing this, if we're spending time on it, right? Like, I value time. If we're spending time on this thing, you have to tell me, what problem are we solving by doing this thing? Like, what widget is fixing the other widget that we're producing, essentially? And they were like, well, I mean, at this specific meeting, really nothing. I'm like, well, then we should stop doing this meeting. We should stop wasting time then. If it's not solving a problem, and if it's not leading to mission accomplishment, then we should just stop, right? And nobody could explain to me the why. And the meeting just sort of ended. I was like, all right, cool. Well, I got what I needed out of this. We'll see you next week if we have it, but I doubt we will.
Right, and it seems brash, and it seems like, well, that's just being an asshole. But no, that is for the sake of everybody else's time. Like, it's just that nobody had the wasta, or had the balls to say it, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that, and it's more about their time. Like there are enough meetings. Like the senior airman that sits, 15 feet away from my desk has like 7 meetings that she has to go to in any given week.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like as an E4, like, and she's not the decisional authority. She is not there. I could walk out of every single one of those those meetings and just go, hey Jay, you didn't need to be there for that one. And she'd be like, oh, okay. And she could just continue working. She didn't have to stop her workday to go to that meeting because she's just there. And
well,
it
she's
really
also busy enough. She's busy enough too.
Yeah. For sure. And that was exactly why. Because I just look around the room, I'm like, you guys are all very busy people. What are we doing here?
No, and meetings shouldn't be meetings just to have meetings. That should not be a thing. And same with products. If it's an Excel sheet or whatever it is, like I kind of like I like what some of our senior leaders have said. Is like, hey, if it is this, whatever this is this helping me beat X country? Like,
Right.
is this helping me get better than them? And I try and link things back to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do anyway.
Yeah. It cracks me up that we just work off internal share drives. Like we haven't figured out like Google Sheets, Google Docs. Teams at least got us closer, at least got us more efficient for what we're doing in that regard.
Pushing Teams so much.
I know. You love Teams. Every time I see that little green bubble pop up, I'm just like, yo, you're making a team again, huh? I have 9 teams thanks to you.
Yeah. But it's like, hey man, I'm just trying to, move. It's you say it all the time. It's being that early adopter. It's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
This has been around for a little while. Let's migrate everybody over there, kind of thing.
It's time to go do it, everybody. That's what we. I was a Teams acolyte when we went. It was like I think for our Valex. So we went down just before we deployed, and we decided, hey, we're gonna jump all in. We're gonna use Teams. It's gonna be a lot easier. Guys could we were doing the con-op in real time on that program. Like everybody could do their slide as opposed to like, hey man, you got to close the slide. You got to send it to me. What version is this? This is an old version. You use the all that nonsense went away. It cut our planning time by like half. We were not staying up every morning until 4 a.m. trying to get the next day's briefs ready to go. We were essentially the 3rd or 4th day, we essentially just were crushing it. We were just like, all right, cool. Yeah, post-mission is done. Pre-mission planning is done. All this other stuff is complete. And it was just really looking around at everybody and going, wait, why aren't we using this tool? Why are we doing this thing?
Right. And that's all it takes is somebody to, be willing to go into the unknown and work through the problem set because not everybody's figured it out yet. It's not a well-oiled machine yet. And then kind of showcasing how good it is or the potential of it and going with it.
Yeah. Yep.
People, I don't even know what we're going to title this.
I don't know what we're going to title it or who's going to listen to it. Because we basically just been we've been just
not
talking.
We've been talking about person.
Not a single person. I don't even know. We came in completely unprepared. That's what we look like, and now you guys know what Peaches and I talk about when Peaches and I just hang out.
Well, we hung out for 20 minutes yesterday.
Yeah,
it was a heated, not a debate, but it was a heated conversation yesterday.
We were in violent agreement on the way to go. I love those. I got that term from TX, but he's like, yeah, you guys were in violent agreement. It was just like, yeah, it sounds like you're arguing, but you guys are both arguing the same point. Like you guys both feel the same way. He was like, so you guys are in violent agreement. I've always loved that term.
Passionate.
Exactly. Passionate agreement.
Very passionate about that topic we were talking about yesterday.
Oh man.
So, well, I don't know, man. We could probably just wrap this up then. And then it'll just be a short episode.
Yeah, just a little Aaron and Peaches show. And then once Trent is done with his reintegration, we can get him on and ask him how his reintegration goes, and then tell him we were about to talk about it when he wasn't even here.
That would have been great.
Here's how you reintegrate, guys. When your spouse gets back from a deployment, here are the challenges. We were going to bring Trent on, but we just decided that we knew better, and he didn't need to be here.
Oh, you hear that, Trent? You don't need to be here.
That's false.
That's a clip right there.
That is.
You don't
that's
need to be here, Trent.
You don't need to be here, Trent. In your face. This is what happens. This is what happens when you're not here, baby.
That's right,
All
baby.
right.
So I got that from Ross Patterson on Drinking Bros. I don't say it quite like he does, but he will just randomly say that kind of stuff.
That is the funniest. I'm telling you, I laughed at that when you were like, "Because we're on one today, baby." I laughed when I was editing that podcast like an idiot, like a straight up idiot. Oh, so good. Well, I'm gonna go.
All right,
we're
man.
gonna get a gym session.
Thanks for tuning in. For whatever reason you tuned in to this episode, whatever we're gonna call it.
Anybody that's listened to this long, I'd like to say thanks. This is probably the last episode you'll listen to, and we appreciate your time. My camera hasn't worked for half of it. We haven't covered anything that you actually care about. Anyway, it's been real. Yeah.
So if you tuned in to us for the first time, things are usually a bit different than this, but we came in completely blind to this. So yeah,
give us another episode or two if that's the case.
Yeah. Go check out some other ones. So,
nice. All right, dude.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Holler.